All right, what's up, guys? We're here with Zoom, episode 2 of the BladeMasterRUSH Show. We got a lot to talk about. Before we get into it, just quick little plug. This is going to be on YouTube, like Amazon, all the podcast sites. Check out my Twitch, check out my YouTube, check out Zoom. Zoom is a Warcraft 3 streamer. He got his start on Twitch, and now he's a YouTube frog, so to speak. So I'll let him. Do you want to talk about yourself, or do you want to just hop in it?
I would disagree that I'm like a YouTube frog. I don't know where this comes from, but
Nice.
yeah, I mean, like, I probably mostly Twitch. Yeah, I just Zoomsf on Twitch.
YouTube frog is, I think, a word that like I've heard you use, and I just really enjoy it.
Yeah, that's a good word. That's a good word.
All right, so we are gonna talk about this is the talk. We're gonna talk about Warcraft 3. So Zoom. So if you don't know Zoom, or you don't play Warcraft 3, Zoom is one of the biggest custom streamers and YouTubers for the game. He plays LTA. Well, he plays a lot of maps, but I guess LTA, Azeroth Wars, Dark Age of Warcraft is what he's what the viewers beg for, and then Trolls vs. Elves, Farmer vs. Hunter, etc. And any maps I'm missing.
Yeah, usually it's like just big custom maps, but in general, all custom maps I probably like have known or played. Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, so the elephant in the room. What do you think about the state of Warcraft 3? We've talked about this behind closed doors, but it's time.
It's pretty shitty, yeah. So like, Warcraft 3 has been released. There is no ladder, so melee players kind of cannot play the game. And I mean, they can't really see their rankings. They can't really see like who's on top, and everything is very buggy. People who wanted like custom campaigns also can't play those. Campaigns were promised to be like way more interesting. They were like promised to be reworked cutscenes, like cinematics, everything, and then like everything is just very bad and not very well performed by Blizzards. And like you would think that throughout the time, like how much already time passed, right? There would be maybe some fixes, hot fixes, and like changes, but nothing has changed basically. Almost like there have been like bug fixes during the crash, like due to the crashes like of custom maps and meta games, but
there's a lot of hot fixes for just like they fix like the footprints of like chickens or something in Reforged. That was the whole patch. People were like, saved.
It's very weird like how many things they see like should be fixed. They limit it to what they kind of want to fix or something. Yeah.
You gotta kind of feel bad for that single intern that's working on Reforged. Like it's just that one intern.
I kind of agree with that. I feel like it's totally like a Blizzard fault. It's not the fault of the people who are working on the game. I feel like it's just a very low budget like project, and maybe like not enough people on like not very qualified people are working on it. And that is like totally Blizzard's fault, because it's something that I think if they would really want it to work and function like properly, it would be done. Like the job would be done in time.
They're one of the biggest gaming companies like in the world.
Yeah, right. Like I don't know how you can mess up if you really like if you say like this is gonna be done and delivered like in a good quality, like and marked like Blizzard product, but in the end we get some like very big disappointment and just everything. The beggar.
Yeah, it was a very like, so I started streaming Warcraft 3 like for like I guess 6 months before Reforged came out, so it was like an interesting like time to start like in the transition where people were like kind of I guess getting back into the game because they were like hyped for Reforged, and then Reforged dropped, and there was just this gigantic influx of people who came back from like 15 years to be like, oh, and they like all knew each other, like, oh, like, whoa, it's like this guy, like I saw you last 15 years ago. But yeah, and then it flopped. Well, I don't know. I feel like in in one way it's exaggerated, and then in another way it's just they're just totally fucked up. Like I think that the community is just still there, but I don't know. I'm an advocate for. I think if they fix ladder, which they probably will never do, I guess they announced it in July. Well, I mean, they announced it when the game came out, but I think a lack of a functioning ladder is like breaks the backbone of the game.
Yeah, I feel like if they would fix like some of the things that I probably complain personally, and like ladder, etc., maybe the game would be in a better state. But it's like it's kind of also distrust from community. Like a lot of people from the community already did flee away probably, and they probably like say, "Oh, it's a like product of Blizzard's. We're not gonna play it anymore." Just they don't trust the company. They don't like give the money to company. Like they have the money to buy the game, but they refuse to do it because they already like have this very bad aftertaste. Like so much hype, so much everything towards the coming game, and then like everything is just going 120, and people are getting very disappointed. But I get what you're saying. I feel like it's not only like negativity. Like I'm still streaming Warcraft. You're still streaming Warcraft.
Yeah.
The game is like not too bad to be played. Custom maps are fun. There is a lot of creativity. Like community is creative. Like the map editors and everything. It's just like I feel like the thing is, it used to be better, and like the game right now is kind of dying. Like it's still in a state where it's playable, but the game is definitely
People
dying.
are really disgruntled, and they've all like just, even if it's not entirely different than before, like people are just like like fuck Blizzard. Like there's enough small things that they just get ticked off and leave, I guess. And you could really tell by like Reddit, I think. Like if you like browse Reddit for the hive mind of can you believe that there aren't custom campaigns like 9 months in? And they're totally right.
Yeah, true. I would say like it's a thing that no one really did trash talk Blizzards probably around maybe like 3 or 4 years ago, because Warcraft was released a long time ago, even back then, and it did function pretty well. Like I didn't experience a single crash probably 4 years ago. It would happen, but it would happen probably due to the lack of experience of the map editors.
Things, right?
Yeah, they were very specific and rare, and like people were just okay, like unfortunate, right? But now like unfortunate happens too often, and it's like a common ritual. You just open the Warcraft, and like for example for me, after each game, if I don't restart Warcraft, I might get like disconnected from Battle.net. I might like my Warcraft might just crash or something.
They
like that.
Used to have a reconnect too, or something like that. I remember, like, or not, maybe not a reconnect, but they used to have like a hang where if you were like lagging, then
waiting for players.
Yeah, and now just instantly. That was terrible.
Yeah, now just instantly, and like there were small companies like and Make Me Host, like the sites through which you could host, but they also had a function like for their hosting bots to reconnect people, and they were functioning very, very nice, but the Blizzard decided to monopolize on them and say like, we don't give you the authority to be like hosting our games, and we're going to be the only like viable tool to host the games from now on, like servers, like only our server is going to be used. So
I feel like the death of bots was like the start. Like now that I look back, I remember when they removed bots, and I feel like before that, like there were no real problems. And then
I totally agree. I feel like there were so many good things made by the community, like with hosting websites, the maps, little communities around each of these maps, like the clan wars and ladder and everything. They were like there was Warcraft 3 Arena. There was like a NetEase, and people were like very, they all liked to be, just like these all kind of things were so different, and people enjoyed them. Like there was also Icy Cup, Garena, but like they started patching the game and giving like more features but they were like also removing some of the things that were functioning properly. And like if you started streaming like when Reforged was like 6 months before Reforged. Already back then, they started like preparing for Reforged, and they were like introducing many features, but also making the game more unstable. And the game was at this stage probably like the most unstable and like super unstable, in general.
Yeah, I remember like games would crash all the time. So
Yeah.
like in case, even if you play Warcraft 3, if you don't play Warcraft 3, but if you're anywhere in between, these are like, as somebody who plays way too much Warcraft 3, I think this is like a list of, so custom campaigns don't work anymore.
Yeah.
They just removed them. The game crashes often, like in customs. Reforged graphics are barely playable. You can't even, like, the pros aren't even allowed to use Reforged graphics. They tried in tournaments and it just, like, it doesn't work. They desync. The editor, there's a lot of issues with the editor now, and like custom maps now crash for like random reasons. They changed the UI. I really hate the new UI. Like, I just forgot, and then every time I think of the old one, I like cry a little bit. And those are some of the biggest offenders. What else?
Yeah, the whole purpose of the game was like to introduce probably like new features plus Reforged graphics, but in the end, like new features were kind of just mumbled and they were not introduced after all. And the graphics are not even optimized. That's the thing. Like, people prefer, like, literally they bought Reforged, but they still prefer the old graphics. Like, what's the point then?
Like, you can't stream on Reforged graphics, right? Like, it's too laggy. I can't either.
It's definitely sucks.
Yeah.
No. Really fucked up thing to buy like the game that introduces nothing but like maybe a few features plus the graphics, and the graphics don't work. Like, what's the point of remastering the game if remastered version is actually worse, arguably, than the version before? And that's probably the case for like Warcraft. People literally wanted their like old game client to be actually being able to play through it, but yeah, they just did cut everything, like all the escapees, all the refugees, everyone. They just said like, no, you can like play on the Battle.net through the servers only using this version of the game and this version of the client. So pretty fucked up thing to do, but we have to deal with it, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, it's a bummer. I have hope. I think my logic is that the game is on the Battle.net launcher now, so like they can't ignore it forever, or they can, but like they should be incentivized to like fix it, because then more people will buy it. But who knows? It's Blizzard.
I can definitely see like a progression. Since the Reforged, they have fixed a bunch of things that made the life easier. There is like a way to go, definitely. It's just like, I feel like the esports side of Warcraft could be way more interesting if they would introduce maybe like more game mechanics and maybe balance it out a little bit more, because their huge balance patches kind of ruin it for the gamers. Like, there was a tournament and they released the new patch with like Nitros, just Keeper of the Grove and Alchemist being super OP. Yeah. And people were like not very used to it. And the same thing like when they nerfed the Beatles for
the Crypt Lord,
the Crypt Lord, just before the tournament. I feel like it was you who told me about that, right? So it's just messed up.
Yeah, really. The thing is, the ladder, I feel like the like melee ladder community has like never been so alive. Like, obviously there's the peak of like Warcraft 3 pros, but like they there's this service, I don't know what to call it, War 3 Champions. Somebody basically just made a ladder like that just is integrated into Warcraft 3. So if War 3 Champions didn't exist, I don't even know what they would do. Like, they were forced to make it almost, because the game just wasn't competitive. Like,
it's funny because like just like that, there was Make Me Host and Connect, the gaming hosters for like custom maps, and Blizzard removed them and monopolized their rights on hosting maps by themselves. Like, just you can do it only by our site and like our tools. And now, like with the Warcraft Champions, I feel like it would be very funny and hilarious if they would actually ban this thing and like say no, you can play on our ladder, which doesn't exist. Something like that.
I think if they did that, the game would just die.
that would be like,
the game right there. Because it's like, I feel like the only thing keeping the game alive at this point is fucking War 3 Champions, personally. Like, I know a lot of people like who play custom games, who, not everyone, but they play War 3 Champions in between. And it's just, I think if Blizzard can make a functioning ladder, I think it just creates a really, like, because there's still, I think, a ton of people who don't know about War 3 Champions. Like, you pretty much only know about it if you watch streams.
Yeah, true. Yeah. I feel like it's like not a tribal tool to fix the issue of not having a ladder. So people sometimes rather give up on like trying to find ladder, but only like few people who like kind of search and like try to sniff it out finally find it. Just through the streamers or like intense googling, etc., etc. Yeah. And like when even they will discover the possibility of playing ladder, they're probably still gonna be very unhappy, and most of them will just say, oh, I'm gonna use like a third-party tool to play the ladder, and they will just abandon the game because it's like, if the game is disrespectful to this point, like esports scene also gonna be like that probably. I don't think like Blizzards are hosting tournaments for Warcraft like that often. It's usually mostly like Asia, right, that is like holding the tournaments, and they're being just partners with Blizzards. But the Blizzards themselves, they don't really invest in Warcraft as much as they would, for example, in Hearthstone, even though Hearthstone is right now like also dying probably and not like being absorbed by that many people, and Blizzard's not caring like super much about it. But like Warcraft, compared to everything else, I feel like is the least cared game by Blizzard, to be honest, which people are still playing like actively.
Because I feel like they just like ignore it all. Like people, there's so many people who play this game still compared to like other games of this age, and they're just, so many people are complaining, and there's no, I don't know, shove it to the side.
True. Though, to be sad, the community is still alive, but I feel like it's just it's like a survivors of apocalypse. Like it was like a zombie apocalypse, and everyone who like left alive, they're just alive. That's it. I mean, it used to be way more than that. It used to be like the maps were edited by way more people, and like some sites for like map editing would be like just overflooded by people that are editing. Just Hive Workshop.
Yeah.
And like other websites, other communities. There used to be so much more than it is right now. So it just kind of sucks. But we still have the people. We still like I still have viewers. I know, like, I still play the games. The thing is, like, it's just like we play the maps that had been edited like long time ago, and editors are already like moving on into like other games, and they're not editors anymore. They're not editing anymore, and we're playing the maps that like had been there forever. Like, it's just still like interesting to play them sometimes and have fun around them. So
a lot of map editors have quit, and even the ones who haven't quit, there's like far less like motivation to like, because there's so many bugs, and it's just like you'll be like working on something for hours and hours, and then just like breaks, and you're like, what the hell? And you have to like go back and like figure out, and it's like it's almost completely random. I've had to deal with it. But I know a ton of map makers who've quit in the past.
Yeah, I feel like the most like arguably the reasons why map editors are quitting is like, first is the community is dying, of course, and like the game is not being like that satisfying to edit and play. But like mostly, I feel like it's a Blizzard's making their statements. Like there was a statement that you do not own the rights for like the concept and idea of your map. So like if you were to, for example, create a separate game, like but the original is the map, right? Then Blizzards are owning rights for it, and that's like very fucked up thing to say and do, I feel like. And like another thing is like the editor, because maps literally crash and like the game stops for a person, but there is no log or like there is nothing that you can say, oh, that's the reason why it's like being buggy or like crashing or like misfunctioning, right? Like, you can't see an actual reason. You have to be like a detective, you know, just like take guesses and think about it. But mostly it's just a lack of editors. The word editor itself, you know, just doesn't provide many tools to figure out what's the issue. And like, or maybe the word editor is an issue itself, you know, it's like a little bit buggy and you have to do like some weird things to foreshadow, you know, the bugs potentially. So it's kind of fucked up, yeah, to be an editor. And then you try to like, I see some editors trying to monetize their content and like it's already, you know, Blizzards are already against it. And like, and then there is also like the technical issues are also against you. So you have to fight on all fronts.
Yeah.
And for the community that is like already very small and decreased in numbers because of the Blizzards, so it's just very fucked up thing to be in.
Yeah, and Blizzard, like, so some context. Right as the game released, Blizzard adjusted their terms of service for custom games and made it like way they lost the lawsuit for Dota and they were kind of just like, yeah, so we're not going to lose the lawsuit to Dota again. So they made their legally binding contract for playing the game a lot stricter on custom games. So like they basically say you can't monetize the map, but they don't really enforce it, so people still do it. It's like they say you can use a Patreon, but we can like choose to terminate it at any point. So it's like risky to even like if you wanted to work on a map and like have your Patreon like help fuel it. Like, yeah, it's all sorts of jargon.
And, yeah, if you're like a small fish, you probably can get away with it. But if you're like a big one and you're trying to do like a leading project to separate the game, like Legion TD2 or like Element TD2, those I feel like had a lot of problems against Blizzards because of this lawsuit.
Yeah. All right, so our dead game, but it's still played. So what do you think? Like, I don't know. I want to talk about macro maps. The professional. I've heard this so many times, and people they think you're like the best player ever, dude. It's like this guy's like the greatest LTA, LTF player like in existence, and I love it. I'm like, damn, like this guy is really. So what do you think is the best macro map? Like, which one do you like the most, or like which one is? Because they're not all like. I feel like they're always really large projects. They're really like, so macro map is a usually kind of massive, usually free for all, but they can be sort of like team versus team, control point based map. Usually they have some like tie to the lore. Well, I guess you'd say they always have a tie to the Warcraft lore. So like LTA and LTF are usually they're just like all in Azeroth, and there's like Kalimdor and whatever the other one is called. And the game, you play as some faction, and you need to get control points to get money on a turn. So it's like almost kind of got board game mechanics, and you build units, and there's all sorts of like intricate interactions. They're really complex, so they're like there's a lot to learn. So what do you think of like the current state of macro maps?
Yeah, I would describe like a macro map being basically the normal meta game, but just very big. So there is no food capacity that stops you at 100 food, and you might have only like, for example, 25 grants or something, right? No, it's way above it. So you have like usually, I know, like armies of 100 units collapsing. So basically, it's like an attempt to make Warcraft look like Age of Empires or like StarCraft, just like lots of units and a lot of macro. That's why it's called basically the macro map. And yeah, like what's my best map and like my favorite map? I would say that yeah, if you are looking for different reasons, you probably can pick a map. So if I were to say like if I want to like have a very hard game and just be victorious after it and just have a lot of micro and APM and have a lot of fun in competitive matchup, I will probably pick Azeroth Wars because Azeroth Wars has a very strict early game and like you have to fight your opponents based on lore of the Warcraft 3 Reign of Chaos and Frozen Throne. So you have like your opponent, you fight them, then you move to another continent, and just like it's a battle royale, basically, real-time strategy on a very big scale, and a lot of micro. And it's very like strict. If you just lose, you lose. That's it. Usually, game is not very forgiving. But on other contrast, there are like more role-playish maps. I would say like Lordaeron the Aftermath and Lordaeron the Foremath. They leave you like a big window for the possibilities. You can go like different races, different paths, and unally your previous ally, a new ally. Azeroth Wars doesn't allow that. And those maps, they're definitely like YouTube favorite and like Twitch favorite because there is way more like kind of roleplay action and just lore, I guess, from like World of Warcraft and like possible realities. For example, like King Arthas, right? Like we would never see King Arthas, who is never like did possess a Frostmourne, but in Lordaeron the Foremath there is such reality that you can actually defend against a Scourge without the Frostmourne and like don't be very possessed by chasing Volcanists all over the Northland. So yeah, like different paths and different play styles, like those maps are probably very good for it. And then there is like a Dark Age of Warcraft, which is probably the craziest, just arcade game. If you want to like have, just fun time creating like a very broken character or very broken, play style, then you go for that map. But yeah, most of the time I just like a crowd pleaser, I guess, and I play LT and LTF because of that. So I would say yeah. But depending on the reason, like sometimes I feel like a bit tryhardish and I actually want to like fight against good players, then I go for Azeroth Wars. I would say like Azeroth Wars is my most favorite map. If I want a competitive matchup, like I will pick just some super high APM like opponent, go on a race against him, and I know like the guy gonna be probably outscaling like many melee players and ladder players because he's gonna be like very insane on controlling a large amount of units and like just the hero aiming the shit out of me. So
yeah,
that's probably it.
I only recently started playing Azeroth Wars and I really enjoy it. So controversial topic, but I'm asking because I don't understand. Like, I'm not trying to take a dig at anything, like, very seriously. It's something like people come to my Twitch all the time and they're like, "New Azeroth Wars is trash." Like, and they see Azeroth Wars and they're just like disgusted, and I'm like, "What do you like?" It's like, I just can't. I don't get it. Like, seems like a fucking dope game. Like, why? What is? Do you know? Like, what is the?
Yeah, I would say like I'm an OG of Azeroth Wars. I used to be like, streaming and playing only one map, and it's Azeroth Wars. So it's like my roots and origins, I guess. Like at least related to streaming and making videos. Before that, obviously I played like different maps, but like when I was only growing, I felt like it's the only map people like to watch, so I stick to it like as long as I could, basically. And yeah, back then, Azeroth Wars, like when Warcraft was very stable and everything worked pretty nicely, people would just, the game was very unbalanced and there was like a lot of base aiming, like harassing and everything, and like a bit like toxic moves, but I feel like people were okay and it was pretty fun to play. But then after some time, the editors kind of changed and there were like new things introduced. Plus, the technical issues appeared, and like over the course of probably like 3 years, the map has changed, and yeah, some people think like not to the best side basically. Like some of their favorite races got nerfed, some of the units and like possibilities got nerfed. Like for example, there were many interesting concepts like charming an enemy worker and getting the technology tree of a different race than you are. There used to be like mechanics of, for example, like bug abusing, having your pocket stronghold on invisible units and like dropping it on, I know, in the middle of Stormwind, for example, and just basing the fuck out of the Stormwind, as an orc. Like, it was very fun. And all of these, like, kind of got, just shredded slowly by the editors to make it very, like, fair and not, like, biased towards some races and experience, like, to make it as much noob-friendly as possible. That's why also, like, second paths and second choices were introduced, just like in LT and LT, but people really, like, didn't like it too much because it was already like a lot of noob-friendly game, like it became recently, and then they just like it was becoming too noob-friendly and too noob-orientated. The OG players didn't like it, and I feel like it's because I feel like the ones that are complaining are usually the OG, like old, like players who have a lot of experience. They used to, have this interesting gameplay, like a lot of variety of strats and everything, but now it's kind of like you can't really not go for a specific play against a certain race and a certain scenario. So yeah, you're just very forced to,
I noticed that a little bit.
Following the meta. Yeah,
I noticed that it's like, because I was getting into it and I was just like, I'd lose to something and I'm like, what the fuck? Like, how do you play against this? And it just seems like there's just like only one thing you can do. But also, yeah, I mean, I think my biggest complaint with games like LTA and LTF, which are great games, is like some things are just not as good as others, which is like fine. But it really, like, I feel like for the longest time, I'm not sure if it's still the case, if you had a good player on blue in LTF, like they would just win every time. Like whatever they decided to do, they would win. Like if they were good, but it's not always perfect like that. But that's interesting.
Yeah, I feel like if people like usually Alliance is very hard to play, and if there is not a very good stack of players that knowing each other and like very good players and all of them playing Alliance, usually Alliance loses. Like Alliance winning is so rare. And Scourge players, yeah, they have like all tools in the world because all kind of units, all kind of like casters. It's a very flexible, like very tanky, lots of heroes. It's a very self-efficient race, and many of the races of Alliance in Lordaeron the format don't have it. Like they don't even have Dispel, some of them. So it's just very hard matchup for them.
Yeah. I hate not having Dispel, personally.
Yeah, I still wonder like how editors actually like can't come to realization that like all races need to have this spell, like good frontline units and good range units, just to be more independent to their allies. But because it's not this way, we can see like for example Dwarf on the south always dying to like mass summons because he doesn't have a dispel. So like what he's supposed to do against that?
Yeah.
If his allies are new, then he just bound to die basically.
Yeah, I was working on something like that for War of the Plaguelands, which will come eventually, but it was like a way for every faction to have a single dispel on like a 90. Like it doesn't need to, like they don't need to be able to dispel constantly. It's just like there's in these maps, buffs can be so OP because you can just like stack them or put them on like a million units, and then a million units are bloodlusted and frost armored and inner fired.
Yeah, true.
Yeah. Okay. So, what do you like? What do you think about Twitch? Like, what are you enjoying? Like, how did you get started on Twitch? I'm curious because I wasn't around.
Yeah, I feel like I started first on YouTube.
Really?
Yeah, so I did record myself with something like I don't even remember what's the app called. It's not OBS, obviously, but it's not Bandicam, but it was like something very old and smelly. Yeah, I had like a very bad resolution, and everything was pretty bad. I was recording myself playing Azeroth Wars with like a heavy metal music, and for some reason back then, DMCA was actually very friendly, and I could
Yeah, I remember.
literally play like the most popular songs, alongside with my gameplay and post it on YouTube, and I could literally monetize that. It was so good time to be
Really?
on YouTube, yeah. And yeah, like after some time, I don't know how, but like my friend kind of gave me this idea to like record videos, and then he also gave me the idea to like start streaming.
Who was
Probably
his
also
friend?
like it was like a friend from university. Yeah, like the university I was in, but we also knew each other for a very long time, like since high school probably. I know why it came to his mind to like suggest it to me, because I feel like I was quitting games for real because of like the studies and everything. But then he was like, dude, you gotta start like doing that and this. I'm like, why?
Thank God he did.
I actually don't know. I mean, like I'm kind of satisfied, like mentally and emotionally where I am, but I'm also like kind of distressed by the point of like, playing Warcraft which is dying. It's like watching the game that you like for so long. It's like a Titanic just sinking down all the time. Kind of sad, but like you're sinking with it, but you keep smiling. It's kind of feeling. It's like whatever.
I have a little hope.
Yeah, many people had hope. Like many people were hyped up for the Reforged. I feel like I'm always kind of neutral and just hoping for like expecting the worst, but hoping for the best, kind of like that as well. Yeah.
I was like, see, I did the opposite thing. I'm so salty about this, but it's fine. I fucking started streaming like right when Twitch came out, like 8 years ago. I was like in high school, I was streaming League of Legends, and I was getting like 10, like 25 people max in like 2012. And then I went to university and I like stopped streaming because I don't know, I just like had studies and shit. And then like a year ago, I was like, oh wait, I have to be a Twitch streamer. I could have been a 10 viewer Andy for 4 years. I was like,
Yeah, true.
eh.
Well, yeah, and then like I feel like it just continued like that. I feel like it's mostly me coming from YouTube that like gained me the audience. I feel like I never had a struggle of being like one viewer Andy, because I literally like copied and pasted my like 200 or 300 viewers into my Twitch. And yeah, I remember like how hard it was at first. I feel like I actually like paid my friend a little bit to boost my like channel followers on YouTube.
God.
When I only started. Yeah, but then like the funny thing happened. It's like it was the first ever clean of like bots ever, and it happened like 3 or 4 days after I did it, and on YouTube. And yeah, like it was a moment when like PewDiePie lost like 1 million, and he was like, dude, there is no way it was like just bots and everything. He complained on YouTube about that. Like it was an event when every big YouTuber and everyone like lost a little bit because of that. So it kind of backfired me immediately. And just they just like got karma punished. I feel like I had like around probably 10, and I got on like 100, and then I lost around like 60 or 70 or something like that. It wasn't. Yeah, I feel like it just like didn't work out, and I continued. I think it's a good thing to do though, like to ask you, for example, your friends to follow, or like get some, I follow you, you follow me.
Yeah.
If you're below 100 followers, because it's very hard to like just get started. Like get like at least like 1 to 5 loyal like viewers and followers. At least some audience. Then like forget about it. You don't need like any view boating or that or that or that. So. And yeah, then after that, I feel like I just started streaming like kind of daily. And at first, my English was probably like 10 times worse than now, and I was just Sukablad, Russian streamer, yet another one. And I was really trying my best not to start speaking Russian. I had very hard like urge to do that sometimes because it was pretty hard for me, to cross past that barrier, like language barrier and everything. And people would always pinpoint about that. They would always complain that sometimes they don't understand me. Sometimes, you don't speak clearly enough. Sometimes, like asking, dude, you're from Russia. It's just like, well, no shit. Like, and like, it just like they kind of putting the facts on your table that you're like shit and like you are not speaking clearly and your English is pretty bad. And like, I remember how many words I have said the wrong way, and it was like actually really funny. I was calling the mountain giants probably mountain Gaians or something, and I was very confused about people like question marking. I was like, dude, yeah. I'm pretty sure I'm pronouncing it the right way. Like, why are you mad? Why are you question marking? And like neutral, I was pronouncing like neutral or something. Like I don't know. Yeah, people were pretty. I feel like I actually created the meta why people watch me because I was so like cringe and I was so like bad at everything, and that's how I got on like first of my Polish and Romanian viewers. But then they kind of just collected and magnetized everyone of the same type to my channel, I guess. And yeah, that's how probably I started.
Huh, that's pretty cool. I feel like you made it because like your English is, I wouldn't even have known. Like,
no, yeah, I feel like it's pretty shit still, but I feel like it has improved and like way more because I used to watch my old videos probably a year ago, and I was kind of like, I don't know, just depressed about how it was back then, and I'm glad that I made some progress.
Is that why you delete your videos?
Yeah, exactly. I very like deleting my videos. I'm very self-conscious person who like thinks that I'm always like making some progress and like a little bit improving myself. Sometimes maybe it's actually negative progress, but yeah, it's a thing like you don't like yourself like from yesterday kind of thing. It's very fucked up and like very psychological, like depressing. But yeah, right now probably like for a month or two, I probably kind of like my content, and I feel like it's what people should also try to aim for themselves. Just like enjoying themselves, because sometimes you really dislike yourself and you keep like in this swamp of hatred. Just like I hate myself. I don't like myself. I don't like what I'm doing. I don't like how I look like. I don't like how I sound. I don't like my physiques, my looks, and this and that, and then like I feel like in these cases, usually you really should stop, look yourself in the mirror, and just see your problems and maybe try to fix them, because sometimes people are very ignorant and like not listening to themselves and keep on moving forward with their job, studies, this and that and that. And I feel like having this intrinsic battle while performing like your daily life and routine, just very hard. And sometimes people just, get very depressed because of that, since they kind of, just have to live their lives while experiencing very high negativity. So yeah, I feel like I had these kind of issues, and like that's why I keep on deleting my videos, because I feel like I was like back then, for example, I was depressed, and I know for a fact when I looked like at my videos, so yeah, don't know.
What do you think about like, this is good on topic, like how do you deal with like toxic, like, because like on the one hand Twitch can be toxic, and then on the other hand Warcraft 3 can be toxic, and I feel like sometimes the two just come together to be like pretty crazy. At least that's what I learned as like my viewers picked up even a little bit.
Yeah, true. I feel like Warcraft is kind of like, the thing is, yeah, we said like there are still survivors of the zombie apocalypse that Blizzard caused, but the people that like stayed, like there are a lot of them who are very toxic and they have nothing to lose. Like they're very dedicated people who are never gonna leave like this community, and they just stay there, just to smell bad all the time.
Their life is just, yeah, I don't know, man.
Yeah, so I feel like the way to do with it, yeah, just You kind of try to run away. Like it's a very like I feel like I learned it only when I was like 20. That you should really try to run away from the people that always bring to the table, negativity, because you are like what you're like 10 best friends divided by 10, just like an average of your surroundings, basically. If you have a very toxic family, they're gonna influence you. If you have like very toxic friends, they're gonna influence you. If the game that you play in the spare time to relax is like very toxic, they're also gonna influence you. So the best way is just like to run away, I guess, from all the problems, from all the haters, just dab on them. The thing is, sometimes it's very hard to do. Like sometimes, for example, people create like second accounts and this and that. Then like you really need to, just go to fundamentals, for example, to create like a very good modding team and explain to them, like, for example, that they need to like watch out for these and like, ban second accounts, etc., etc. But also, like, just probably create kind of like confidence and be happy with yourself. Like, if you have been working for that, like for some time, you probably can achieve some results, and then you're maybe like feeling better about yourself. And then at this stage, like, you probably have a confidence to just stand your ground all the time. Like, even if it happens regularly. Like, I'm very amazed, for example, how XQC does it, right? So the guy literally, like, no
In
matter
his
how,
fucking ear, just
yeah,
constantly.
he has an ear rape always, like, in the nations. Like, people, like, he kind of like a psychologist for the clinic called Twitch. Like, everyone is donating to him and, like, saying, I had a bad day today, like, my dog died. Then the guy, like, the other guy donates and says, like, XQCL, and, like, I love you, dude. Like, you make very good content. The other guy is like, you're amazing. Fucking get you baited, you are trash. Underscore. Yeah. And he, like, human cannot really go through all these emotions. Like, you can't really be happy, sad with everybody. Like, when there are so many people, like, you can't really have conversation with more than like 20 people. You're gonna get just crazy, right? Like, you can't really follow what everyone says. So you kind of divide it and like take the average, I guess. And like, he is doing very well. And also, he kind of stands his ground all the time. Like, for example, like, he never blames himself, kind of. He kind of always blames others, just blames, like, unlucky.
I fucking
blames.
love it.
Yeah, he, like, it never would say, like, oh, I fucking suck, dude. I'm fucking trash. No, he always, like, this game fucking trash. Like, this game fucking sucks. Like, you guys are fucking stupid. Like, and so on and so on. And he, like, never doubts himself.
I think it's a healthy attitude in his position.
Yeah, I feel like he would never survive it other way around. Yeah. Because other people would always try to make him feel shit. And if you're like constantly feeling like shit, yeah, it will bring you down. So
if he showed vulnerability, that text to speech would just like hammer down on it. Because they don't forget anything. Like you'll like they'll make memes out of the chat that'll persist for weeks.
Yeah, there are like some funny bands. For example, there was like a period probably a year ago when I was playing Dark Age of Warcraft a lot, and there was a guy who was unreasonably good. Like, he was the fastest one to get like a hero to level 20. He would be, just 6 upgrades, like billion units out of nowhere, minute 30. I was literally worshipping this guy. I was like, dude, how this guy actually does that? But then I kind of was busy at that moment and I wasn't watching the replays. And like one moment was like very questionable thing happened. He was messing the units. They were like costing probably around 50 gold. And they were like around 100 of them. Like, what happened in Kalimdor if he teleports here and does like a lot of torrents, like unreasonably high price? And I'm watching, and the guy was like a hacker. And I'm like, Jesus Christ, and the map is hacked. And like, he was farming all the loot and like teabagging me in chat this whole time. I was like, dude, you can do it better next time. Like, come on, like question marking me, this kind of stuff. And I was like, damn, dude, this guy definitely is like a very good player. I'm like, I'm humbled, to play against this guy. Just like very challenging gameplay, etc. But then I realized, just he's a hacker and started banning him in every game. Victor, kind of a guy also who is a different case. I would describe him as he looks up in the chat for the most normie guy and then copies his message and like improvises it kind of. Like he's kind of like trying to be like, I know his personality, right? I know the guy like is very, just like a Twitch frog, and he would be never post a normie like context, right? Like never post a normie message. And then all of a sudden he like talks like, just 12 years old YouTube guy who just followed me recently, right? And like he would totally copy paste his messages. And that's very annoying, just like creating this experience of very weird copy pasta that is like. And like in games sometimes, he also, just acting very selfishly. Like I had also a guy, Diodon, like he's now unbanned again, but sometimes he very likes, to do stuff like for the cloud, right? Like for example, like he doesn't know I'm a werewolf in the game of Mafia, right? Like that I'm the Mafia, and he decides to kill me before it's even clear that like he doesn't
like
take
trolling a little bit.
Yeah, and because like it denies me from making content, and like it literally, just farming L's and lows in the chat, and like people actually demanding me sometimes to like, what the fuck is this guy doing, like banning? And like there are so many trolls like that. Recently, for example, there was a guy that Eliphas, he asked me to give him a slot for his friend Sensei. So basically, two guys are Russians.
Yes, I know those two guys.
Yeah, I'm like, okay, like no problem, I can wait for this guy. And then like my guy Baron joined. Baron is my sub. I don't want to kick him out like for two Russians that like I had a game against them, and Excursion cult, Russian outland when I'm Illitari, it's kind of weird thing to do. Like they're very cloud chasers. Want to flex on me, kind of these guys, but I didn't mind it. So I'm like, dude, I'm sorry, but like I don't want to kick Baron, and I just kicked him instead because he probably will not play without his friend. And then he came to my chat like all angry, all like sweaty, lots of swears, lots of mad. I'm like, dude, like calm the fuck down. He's like, dude, you're kicking me because I'm better than you. Like you're a fucking trash player. Now you're kicking everyone who is better than you, and so on and so on. I'm like, dude, fuck's sake.
Is he banned?
Yeah, on Twitch, yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I've had a couple interactions with him. He seems like an alright guy, but in game he just raged a lot.
Yeah, he's very emotional and irrational. I feel like I have a very good score against him, but he's kind of like always wanna be, just like better than me and everything that. So like, yeah, it's very hard to argue with these people. Like I literally don't mind people who think like they're better than me and they just flexing, but then they are like chatting with me all the time and like just not playing the game but like being everywhere and like cloud chasing, teaming up against me all the time just to be there on the screen. That's kind of annoying. Yeah, that's like super annoying. So
do you think you've got like, because like I think it's definitely a meme to like, oh, Zoom's in the game, target Zoom. Do you think that's made you a better player? You were always at a disadvantage, like ballpark.
I feel like it's very funny because many streamers and many players like super hate it. Like for example, I know that Witty does hate it like super a lot. Like another streamer guy who is super big right now on Twitch. So I think he's like super, like he really hates it and he always blames his loss on that. I'm kind of a guy, I feel like I have seen everything. You cannot surprise me in LTA game, like with meta gaming against me and like super, just annoying the fuck out of me and teaming up. Because like one game, I feel like I played against former clan EOS, and there was a guy on the cult who was riding the Naxxramas, and he chased me to Outland with his thing. He was like the whole time, like 30 minutes, he was just chasing with like there were like two people chasing me, like was the MC, I was the horde player, and it was like dwarf or something. But they were also with Naxxramas, just going exactly where I was every second, like during the stream. It was so funny and like so like weird. And after that, like nothing that people do really makes me, you know, just lose my mind and start swearing and like screaming.
Yeah.
I know, just like, yeah, at this point, you know, people are having fun, so it's whatever. But if I want to record a video, I definitely kick them out. Like, this kind of people.
Definitely. If you react, then they will like only continue, and then more people will do it. So, fortunately, I don't have to deal with that too much in my map, but sometimes I feel like I play LTA and LTF, and it's like I'm not as high profile, but people will just be like, "Oh, time to kill this guy," but I don't think it happens that much. They always kill me because I'm a noob. They always get me.
Yeah, I feel like it's like the best content is when you actually can defend yourself against them, and like you literally, you know, when you beat like small alliances of those Russians, they just leave and they say nothing. Like they literally like are very embarrassed about like their attempts to team up on you and failing, you know, so they just leave and go next. And until they fucking win finally, so they have this little proof that like we are better than you, Mr. Streamer. We are better than you. Look at us.
People love to like hold the single win. Like there are people that watch my stream that I know, and God bless them, but sometimes they will be like 3 months later, remember when I made you rage out? Like, no, I don't fucking remember that. Like, what the hell?
Yeah, true. I can see that. I can see that happening a lot.
All right, do you want to last thing to talk about? Unless you have more.
Maybe like I had like one guy that like named Jake, and whenever I would play Legion, he would go Horde, and I was like, dude, why are you like every time like I try to play Legion, he goes Horde, and then the guy goes like very speed runs to going through Horde, getting Garrosh, and apparently Garrosh is very good at killing your kill Jaden in Legion. So he opens the portal, he uses like 2 buttons, and all your defense crystals are gone. And then like it's ridiculous, like it's one of the most OP like spells in the game. You can't repair the defense crystals, as well I'm concerned. So yeah, you basically like open the portal, go to kill Jaden in Lordaeron the Aftermath, and you know, you just kill it instantaneously, and there is nothing you can do. You can try to, like, at some versions I feel like you could tower up, but not in that one. Like if you camp the portal, if you try to stun him, if you try to do that, and Wizard doesn't like, and nothing does help, and he you know, just like because of the map mechanics. And the guy was very annoying because he would spam it against me every time I would try to like.
I feel like I know this guy. Is this recent?
Yeah. I think it wasn't recent, but it was like probably 6 or like 7 months ago.
Oh, it's probably a different guy. There's a lot of Jakes
guy
out
was
there.
named Jake.
Yeah, I've definitely had. Yeah, I can see. I watch it sometimes on your stream, so. Yeah. All right. Maybe last thing. I wanted to talk about historic Warcraft 3 drama because I don't know super much. I've heard a lot. I don't know if you have like a favorite one or like one that like I've heard of. Well, obviously there's like the clans, right? You know, the clans like break up and they fight all the time. But like man, I don't know if I should say the word like Azothan.
Yeah, say it.
Like, what is? Has there ever been like a full like telling of the whatever the Azothan drama was?
Yeah, I feel like I was trying to tell my community a lot about it because they felt very betrayed. Like it was probably one of the major events where I
they
literally
still talk
cried.
about it to this day.
Yeah, I literally cried and I was like very depressed about the whole thing because it was something like when you expect people to behave one way, and like everyone, you know, just like your whole community is literally against you. Like your whole community, like every guy, like just, you know, just calling you trash. So yeah, there was like a guy named Azothan. He used to be like first a YouTuber, but then he started watching me and Vita, I guess, and he picked up his like idea. Oh, actually, live streaming is pretty fun. Like, so he was like, you know, kind of a very OG of Azeroth Wars. I think like Azeroth Wars is as it is right now, right? Like as the way it is right now. is because of Azothan. Like Azothan was the first ever shoutcast on YouTube guy who would make Azeroth Wars videos. But yeah, as time passes by, I feel like, his follower count was very big, and it's still big right now. But as the time passes by, like his concurrent viewers like were dropping. He kind of stopped making videos at some point and came back, and he had like a downfall. So he kind of wanted to try a thing called Twitch, and he started to like stream on Twitch. But many things started to happen like not the way he wanted it to happen. I was very used to my community, just like trolling me every time in games, just trying to ruin my video, like teaming up on me, etc. But Azothan wasn't. And Azothan is also like a kind of, from my perspective, a little bit narcissistic person. He always like smiles in a very, just like a lion way, just like very, very proud of himself being like whatever like race and like origin he is, and he's like very, just like a guy who is just happy about himself, very, very, like self like centric person. At least he was giving me vibes of that. But I mean, I don't mind. Like I feel like I'm still like I have a good opinion of Azothan, because he's not like a Hitler, right? Like if the guy is just like kind of liking himself a lot and like kind of doesn't listen to you too much, but like listens to himself a lot, kind of. I don't know. I feel like I'm just trash talking him too much, but the thing is,
I mean, he doesn't exist anymore, right?
It doesn't matter. I'm just like, I apologize if I'm giving like a bit kind of bad POV on him, but yeah, the guy is, from my perspective, he was. It's like it's not bad because like he's happy with himself. It's kind of bad because like he couldn't hear the voices. Like I tried to talk to him, for example, about issues with his stream and with that, but he was also very defensive and offensive in the same time. Like he would never take my opinion as high as his own, like ever. And I felt it very like hard to communicate with the guy, because like I for example, if I lose a game, I can like call it I'm trash like immediately. He never ever in the history of my life would actually say, "Oh, I did a mistake. Oh, I played bad." He kind of taking that XQC approach, but I think he was also like kind of doing it a little bit in a weird way, but whatsoever. So what was happening back then? And then like I used to host him, but my viewers, just kind of maybe sometimes pressure him, and he would really get mad at them, like for even a notch of like disrespect or anything, right? And it also happened even with his community. When he would play a game, he would always blame an ally of his. Like he would have, for example, 2 game experience on a custom map like Kalimdor the Aftermath, right? And he would always blame his ally if he did like something that he didn't think he did right. And like the poor guy, just like way better than him and does his job like to his best ability, but he would always blame someone else in his team instead of like facing that he just played not the right way or something like that. So the guy like, and I feel like he was also like really expecting to grow very fast on Twitch in the same time. Maybe like something was unsatisfying for him at the moment, just like breaking the mood. And yeah, at some point, my Discord was like kind of, I was always collabing with him, always trying to like be cheerful towards Azothan, playing the games, etc., etc. But yeah, like he started to ban half of my community literally from the host that would chat, because if they would say like, "Dude, you did it wrong," you just ban them instantly. Yeah,
people love banning in Warcraft. It's like such a thing. Like.
Yeah, he couldn't face any critique, I feel like, at the moment, because he was very like hot-headed. I totally get it. Like I totally can understand why Azothan behaved in the way he did behave. And I feel like it's totally like natural thing to do. If for example, like you're unsatisfied with something, you have like a shitty day, obviously you might be like irrational, etc. So I feel like the games were not very good for him because he couldn't like grow his skill like too fast enough. And he was very distressed about everything happening in his life, like around the gaming probably at the moment. So he started to ban like a lot of people in his chat, and most of them were my viewers. So these viewers of mine, they got banned on Azothan's channel, right? Then they would come back to my Discord because they're not banned there, and they would trash talk him. I was like moderating it to my best ability. Normally, like I would just let them talk like negatively sometimes because it was like the majority. I would literally have to like message every Discord member myself, or like literally, just push all my moderators to be super sensitive, to eliminate like, just like witch hunting of level like 0.1. Like I wouldn't call it was like a witch hunting, like 1 or 2 out of 10. I would call it like they were just like not very, they were memeing about Azothan banning them. That's like one of the major memes. Like
if everyone gets banned, then they're gonna be like, yo, like what is this guy? Like, you can't ban everyone.
Like, yeah, exactly. And I feel like everyone understood that, but Azothan, like he was literally like, oh, these guys hate me. Like these guys fucking hate me. They don't like me. These guys are the true evil. These guys are what community like thinks of me. Zoom's community thinks of me, And I'm like, dude, you are banning them. You are like very, very sensitive about like every critique, everything happening. Like, can you make like a talk to them? Can you actually like, can you both apologize? And I remember like to this day when I said apologize, he got so mad. Like the possibility of him being wrong and apologizing was so extreme to him that he like really yelled at me back then. Like he was making a whole message of hatred, just it's not me who should apologize. Are you like idiot? Are you retarded? Are you this? Are you that? It was kind of like talking to like a Donald, just like a guy who only lives in his mind and his thoughts. But I totally agree that I was probably wrong there. I probably allowed, just people be a little bit mean to him. And yeah, maybe we had to cut, just interactions with each other if this was the way. And like we couldn't change the people's mind. Then like why, for example, me continuing to host him if all my community hates him and he bans all my community, right? Like that was probably the best idea to get there. But we continued to behave like we are friends, while our communities like continue to trash talk each other, kind of. But his community trash talking me was like nothing to do, like nothing. I mean, like too aggressive or like nothing that I would hate my like a lot or anything. I was just like whatever, like it's whatever. I still had my boys trash talking me too, so I was like, I mean, it's like
what happened
nothing.
To his community? Did they all like just dissipate into yours, or?
Yeah, I would say like
too.
Yeah, I feel like he was collecting two types of players. Like, two types of people. Like people from VT and my community, and like a third. The second type of people would be probably the forum worms, like the people who never play the game, but they liked Azothan from the time of Diplom Union. There used to be like organization called not like organization, but like a team, not a team, a gaming community. Okay, yeah,
more than a clan.
Yeah, it's like a website where people would like hang out and play with each other, like, and they would chat. And Azeroth Wars originated from Diplom Union, and Azothan was there, and he was like the first YouTuber. So there are a lot of boomers and like people who came, just playing Azeroth Wars long time ago, and they know Azothan, and because like Azothan gives them, this feeling of nostalgia, they would come to watch their channel, his channel a lot. And they would come specifically because they like Azothan, and they have like great experience and stories with him like in the past. So now if he's streaming, it's just like an old friend or something like that. And yeah, I feel like I just scrolled back to, their forums. That's basically it.
Yeah, it's interesting. I always hear like a little bit of the Azothan. So it was good to get the whole story just for fun, for history.
Yeah, it's
I missed
kind of
the
like
whole thing. Like he quit after
it's not really like a whole thing. I said like my chat would get banned and they would get, and then Azothan would get mad because they were fighting back in my Discord, getting banned, and just it's like for example, they make a joke and Azothan finds it inappropriate, and he insta-bans them, right? Or like they would probably defend the guy who he was trash talking, or maybe the other guy who he was trash talking, right? And he would not like really understand it and immediately like act very aggressively towards people like arguing with him. He was never an arguer, like the guy who would actually take critique about that. So yeah, when people started a little bit of witch hunting, I'm kind of like to blame there. I probably should have like stopped interacting with as could probably find a solution for that. He like kind of shit talked me back then and like told me like call me to action. And I thought at the point that my viewers were like they knew my perspective and they could probably tolerate, It's like if there is like a guy you're having like a birthday, right? And there is like one kid who is acting very irrationally and stupid, right? But if you're all mature adults, right, you can probably understand it and just tolerate it, right? That's what I thought about it. So if everyone understands that like Azothan was acting very emotional and like hot-headed by the moment, maybe we could just let it slide. It's like it's a guy who is like just having not the best time right now, so it's whatever, just like look past it. And I did give like some people from his community moderators role to like cease just all the witch hunting. So, and I gave also Azothan this right. And by doing that, my community literally thought that like I betrayed them. I value Azothan way more than them. And that created like probably the biggest Armageddon in my channel in my life when everyone hated me. Everyone, just like was calling me a sellout, like a little Azothan's bitch, like a Bodhi's man bitch, just like you don't like us, you like Azothan more. But like the point is that I don't feel like I did like Azothan. I was just very neutral. I thought like it's just like my community. I expected to behave and just be like very adult, and like something like we could probably just stop witch hunting and talk about something else. Like if you don't want to watch Azothan, just don't watch. Like whoever cares, like who I host sometimes, right, or who I talk sometimes to. Like it's not like it doesn't have to do anything with you guys. We just can hang out like we're hanging out. And like who cares about like what Azothan talks about you? Like you can just stop watching him. But they were very possessed by the idea of Azothan, being a huge meme, and they didn't want it to go. And then like when I said like, dude, I want to still like be just neutral friendly with him, like not positive, not negative, but neutral friendly. And they really like got angry at that when I modded some of like Zoomsf. I modded Zoomsf and I modded Azothan. And yeah, then I modded them the next day, and I said like Azothan, we got apart, But I had to literally delete the Discord back then because there was too much, and I felt very betrayed. Like I literally felt like everyone is a mastermind. Everyone can understand me. Everyone, just understands like it's just a child that is like, being like this way, and you can literally be an adult and just say like whatever, fuck it, it's just like another like dumb kid, whatever, just move on. But people were not like that. So
yeah, I've learned firsthand very recently, like at least the Warcraft community, they hate neutrality, dude. They love a good drama and they love a good witch hunt, and it's like I don't think I think you should still try to like not like tear bridges down, but when you were talking about that, I was just like, oh, I firsthand know how this can be.
Yeah, true. I mean, like right now and back then, I do allow like freedom of speech, but I do not allow like literally witch hunt. And I think it was like something that wasn't particularly witch hunting, but it was kind of like just poking, always poking. But for Azothan back then, I feel like it was too much. And yeah, there was also like, it was very controversial because I wasn't like that big streamer back then, but I had like very, core members hating Azothan. And I literally had to fight back for Azothan every day. Just my moderators like Fluency and other streamers, right? Like they would always, just be very offensive towards Azothan. I was like, dude, like, can you stop? Can you stop? Can you not do that? Can be like this and can you that? It was so hard. It was absurdly hard. At this point, like, it should have been just so clear to me that we should just, part with each other and not like try to hold it anymore, But yeah, I feel like the same was happening in his community. Like the guys who he didn't ban and who stayed with him the whole time, they probably also didn't like me too much for me, just allowing this.
It creates like partisan or whatever.
So sometimes I would just look at his Discord and find my name being, in the mud and like just people calling me trash.
Yeah.
There was like one time when I was like when I joked about my friend like Avocatan. Back then I was like kind of friendly with him. We used to play a lot in voice chat, and I called him like some name. But people, because Avocatan was a part of Azothan's community, people literally like got it very wrong and very offensive, and they got offended. They chose to be very offended and like act as a community, just like like Zoom, go away, you don't belong here, like just die, like piece of trash, get the fuck out of here, And like Azothan, like he did care about him getting like trash talking my community sometimes, like softcore, right? But like when this happened to me, he didn't say shit. He didn't like act anything. He didn't care about it. I didn't bring it up like a single time to him. But yeah, it's something like, just double standards and like whatever. It's like, I don't know. I kind of enjoy it, with bantering and people like, some people hating me. It's kind of fun to have this side of community and like in someone's chat and Twitch. But yeah, it's just like whatever. I mean, I didn't care that much. I had like my own shit to do with, I guess.
Yeah. So you asked me once on stream. This is a good segue, and then we'll close out because it's like an hour and 20. You asked me once on stream about the old guard drama, and I shied away from the question for political reasons. But this is the perfect time, and I'll in return for the Azothan story, I'll do like. So I have a little bit. I've never really talked about this in open space because, as you said, basically my whole thing was like, I'll go through the drama more in depth, but just across like the whole time, I'm just trying to stay neutral. Like I want to like keep, like friends and all that. There's no reason for bridges to just explode, but people fucking love exploding bridges. Like it's just, it always happens. So what happened was the Old Guard Discord, the amazing and wonderful Old Guard Discord, I say that with a genuine, I started playing Warcraft 3 and I got into that Discord. There's this guy named Bolvar, this controversial figure, but I think Bolvar is a very lovely person who what happened was they did this election for like these roles in like for different maps. So like LTA, LTF had a role, and War in the Plaguelands had a role. And I used to host War in the Plaguelands a ton in spring of last year. And then the game died, and Bolvar was like, yo, like you should try to run for this. And I was like, well, I'd like to play the game again, sure. So I did, and I won. And then for 6 to 8 months, I basically revived War in the Plaguelands from the ashes by doing weekly matches for Old Guard. And then, so basically I spent like almost a year like working on Old Guard. Like a lot of the things that were like enacted were my suggestions, like all that stuff. Like I spent all this time like hammering away at Old Guard, and then Reforged dropped, and we have this whole shit show. That's so I tried to resign peacefully from staff or whatever on Old Guard. Basically, what had happened was Bolvar resigned from Old Guard, and my opinion is that once Bolvar resigned, the server just like Reforged 2, like it just was, I don't know, man, it was a little toxic. It was like I just couldn't, like I was just like, you know what, I'm just gonna be a map maker. Like there's like all of this drama for no reason. And actually what started happening was what Zoom has and Azothan has experienced is like people just like talk like fucking shit about me in Old Guard. I'd be like, oh man, like what the fuck. So I'm gonna step down I'm just gonna stop being a high profile figure to let this server like, you know, do its thing and maybe revive. And people were not happy about that. One person was not. Two people were not happy about that. And like they were fucking like savage, dude. They were like, literally all I did was like message like, oh, like, yeah, I'm gonna resign. I'm gonna be a map maker for one of the Plague Lands. I think it's like a better way to, you know, help the community. And they were just like, they were tearing into me. Like they were saying some really like hateful things, and I was still just like, whatever, like I'm just gonna go over it. And it just kind of like, it only now has stopped because I just like ignored it completely, which I think was the best thing to do, because it's just people just like love that like clash. And yeah, the one of the leaders like went around to everybody he knew, and like he actually threatened them to ban me from their discords. So he went to these people, and I have proof of this too, because they would fucking like message me and be like, because the thing is like, so this guy, and like he doesn't play Warcraft 3 anymore. They're like old like Warcraft 3 frogs. They just like, he just manages the Discord. So it's like the old guard is kind of run by these people who don't even play the game. And yeah, so like I think most people have a pretty good impression of me. There's like definitely people who don't, but I think when it happened, most people who play the game were like, okay, like this doesn't really
I don't really get how people are toxic about you like leaving your position though. Like, I mean, they will like trash talking you and like making you not like, they were against it, or they were supporting it. I don't get it.
They were against it. Well, they thought, oh right, yeah, I should explain this.
I mean, they were like pleasing you to like please stay. Like they were toxic and like I know you should stay because like you were given this position.
Yeah.
And like high expectations of you were like, and you didn't do your job or something.
Yeah.
During so this course of yeah.
They thought I like stole their community or something. They thought I like went in there and like fucking like just like leeched like off of whatever they built, when in reality I spent like so much time like suggesting things to Olgar, like, you know, whatever, doing private matches. So basically that was their accusation, was that I was like stealing something. Well, yeah, I think it's ridiculous. Yeah, I think it's ridiculous to like think you can steal like a community. Like,
that doesn't exist from the start.
yeah. It was always an aggregate. Anyway, it was just a lot of misconceptions, but I think that's most of the drama. But yeah, anyway, it was super rude. I
think it's very messed up, yeah, because like I see you streaming, you know, editing, like, which is very boring to me, but you edit fucking a lot. Like, you know, I never edited my map, like even probably
Age of Lordaeron.
Like, yeah, 100th time of how much you edited, you know, like probably 1000. And like I don't get any trash talk because like I probably just upload very rarely. I don't give a fuck, you know, just whenever I'm ready to like do some changes, I do them, but that's it. And people like probably just, you know, new version, they consume it. No version, well, no version, I guess. But like for you, I feel like no matter how much work you put, no matter how much, like, you know, just waste your time on doing something, people are always gonna be like there's gonna be always one guy who would say like, oh dude, you didn't work enough. Oh dude, you were like stealing community. You just put icons on a thumbnail and like you don't do actual editing. Like who literally like got you into editing? Like this guy was a better editor. Like community back then without you was a better like community or something. Like that's so fucked up.
Doesn't make any sense. I literally started editing because the map was dying, and like the other guy, like, kind of, it seemed he didn't really want to edit it. I think he just kind of felt compelled to, because like my stream was blowing it up. But yeah, I think, okay, like I know you don't like spawn-based maps, but I don't know if it's because of me, but there's some like people hate War in the Plague Lands, and I just don't get it. Like maybe it's a me thing because it's like, oh, this streamer like War in the Plague Lands, but it's like, it's just a map. Like, how can you hate it this much? Like,
yeah, exactly. I know. I just don't play it because like it's too intense. And, like I always get just depressed when my hero dies. Like I can't get over, you know, just the fact that, for example,
you have to embrace the depression of losing a hero. That's why people watch me, is because I rage out.
And like another thing is that you feel like you don't have real impact because there are like already five another guys of you. And when you push like one guy, your enemy, like another one comes and you're totally outmatched and you feel so powerless, you know. You're so
Yeah.
like ally dependent, you're so like game, you know, just RNG dependent. Sometimes you're like very focused, but your hero like gets just RNG surrounded or like just died because, you know, some very bad path in whatever like positioning, you know. And it's like all of that combined probably makes me like not play the map as much as
Well, I
other
mean, you don't
people.
you don't like
But
any of
I
the
but I
spawn-based
never
maps.
hate it. Yeah, I never like. I
I
just
just
never
think
bring
it's
it up. Yeah.
some maps are just not people's style, you know.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly,
yeah,
exactly. So I feel like I talk about Warner Black like, probably once in a month. Like when people like a person deliberately ask me like, "Do you play this map? Do you like this map? Like, why don't you play this map?" I say like, "I just don't like it. I don't play it." But like, I don't think people get influenced by that because it's such a rare thing. Maybe some um, OG viewers maybe like get influenced by me, but like, yeah, I just try to try to be as neutral as possible. It's nothing like I'm
I mean, it's just a
propaganding.
map, you
Yeah,
know. Like when people tell
yeah,
me to play
exactly.
maps, sometimes I'm just like, no, I'm not fucking playing that map. But like, people love to get the wrong idea, dude.
Yeah, exactly. Like we the other day, like when I asked him to play with me, like he said that I'm like, dude, you wanna play Royal Chaos or World of Transylvania maybe? And he's like, Royal Chaos is a trash map. I'm down for World of though. I'm like, okay, dude. I mean, he doesn't like Royal Chaos, like whatever. And probably the Royal
Oh,
Chaos community is influenced by Viti because he hates the map, right? But like,
yeah,
who cares at this point? Just
yeah. I think it's. I mean, yeah. It's always there's so much map rivalry that it's just like I don't know. It's just
Yeah, it's funny
Warcraft,
how
I guess.
Blizzards actually don't see it. Like they all they cared at some point was just like a ladder and melee, and
Yeah,
like the
dude.
custom maps would crash a lot, but like just melee, 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 all in their minds, fixing some like footsteps of chicken, you know.
I feel like they're so dumb because, like, on the one hand, they like did this whole legal thing where they were like, "Oh, we own all your maps," but on the other hand, and they're like,
Yeah,
"Oh, like like Dota, like you fucked up with Dota. Why don't you just pay attention to custom games? Like people still play this. Like how are you so stupid? Like there's another Dota in here somewhere. Like I don't know what it is, Survival Chaos, Vampires and Fire, but like,
yeah, true. I mean, like I don't know, they could have done so much better, and just revive the hype for Warcraft 3. So many players could have came back, just start playing the game again. But instead, what they did, I feel like they just kind of cutting with just cutting the OG players as well. It's not even like that they don't bring the new players that much as we expected with the Reforged release, but they also like cutting the OG players because they literally are fed up and just
yeah.
like we can't at this point.
When I go through my old videos of like pretty much any time period, it's so depressing. Like I see all these names that used to be in like every video and they just are never around. There's like it's
Yeah.
so all the Koreans stopped playing. War in the Plaguelands was huge for like 4 months because the Koreans fucking loved it, dude. Like I still am so about the Koreans. Like we would have these games where like 2/3 of the lobby was Korean, and I was like, this is sick. Like, and they don't even like we used to have translators. Like we used like there'd be like two or three guys who knew like English, and we all got along. Like there was no like there was very like few like problems. Like some of course sometimes some people would be like these fucking whatever, and you'd have to be like you can't say that, dude.
Yeah, right. So,
Yeah. But all right, that was dope. All right, should we anything else?
no, probably not.
That was a
Yeah,
lot.
topic is pretty depressing. Yeah, so
All right, I'm gonna do closing remarks. So, um, episode 2, Warcraft 3, done, awesome. This is gonna be on YouTube. Other things, check out check out my YouTube channel, BladeMasterRUSH Show. Check out Zoom's YouTube channel, Zoom SF. What is it? What
yep.
is it's Zoom SF on YouTube, right?
Yeah, I just changed it recently to Zoom myself. It used to be
Yeah,
only Zoom.
yeah, and on Twitch. Um, Yeah, this has been a really big episode. This is a lot of drama that needed to be addressed and all that. So, yeah, next time we'll have somebody else. Have a great day.
Yeah, you man.
Oh wait, do you have any closing remarks soon?
No, I guess just like don't buy Blizzard games and stay happy.
Yeah, all right, sick.